Hey there, welcome to the studio. My name is Marcus, and I blow glass. Today we're going to be making this Latticino Cane tubing section. Basically, it's just twisty cane. So, we'll start out by getting some 34mm rod and 12mm blow tube. And I like to use the blow tube for this heavy rod because it doesn't crack as easily with thermal shock. We're just going to break a chunk off of this rod, and this will become the blank that we basically draw all our color on. Alright, got it real hot, and we're going to use some mashers to flatten it out. Give it a flip over so that we're getting both sides nice and even. And here I'm going to use some striking China white. I'll be drawing lines down on both sides. You could use any color for this. After I've finished drawing my lines, I like to use clear in between. This helps hold the color in place. We want to have very defined lines once we encase the glass. It's a good idea to melt in all your lines before you add the clear to avoid bubbles. And I've already drawn some white lines down the side of this. I'm going to add some dark cobalt over top to create a color fade. It adds a little bit of visual interest. You could do this with many different colors. Alright, we're going to coat this whole thing in clear now. You can use a bunch of different methods, but I'll just layer clear rod over it until I've got the whole thing encased. And we're going to get it real hot, cook the whole thing in, and attach a handle. I like to have a big wad of clear on the end of this blow tube handle so the blow tube itself doesn't get too hot and start moving. Alright, and once we get it super hot, we can start twisting. And we're going to do this twisting in a few different stages. That way it's easy to control. You shouldn't have to force it, you just got to get it real soupy. Alright, we've got a good first twist going on. So now our goal is to work this into more easily managed sections. Just keep a nice even twist in it and break it down into little chunks, and then we can start pulling out our cane. You want to keep the whole thing very hot with Boro so that you don't have any devitrification on the surface of the glass. This is where you get the glass too cold while twisting it, and it forms sort of a white haze. So we're going to keep it real hot and pull it out nice and even. I tried to get a darker shot here so you guys can really see what's going on. Sometimes I'll just hold on to the cane itself because it makes a pretty good handle. I'm rotating faster with my right hand than my left, but still rotating with both. Getting that twist nice and even, and then I'll start using gravity to pull it out. Now again, this is two motions, so I've got a good base here. Nice even section. And now I'm going to go ahead and heat that up again and try and bring this into my final diameter. and I'm sort of watching just where the rod is starting to cool and trying to keep a consistent diameter throughout the process. We've got a nice even section now. Alright, here's our finished cane. You can see we have a nice little helix inside. So we're going to wrap this around a tube, and I like to use a piece of cloth or paper to help. We're going to use wire to tie it together, or you could use an elastic band. And you want that glass hanging just off the end of the tube, so that when you start heating it up, the tube itself is nowhere near that hot material. Now we're going to get the end nice and hot and try and stick them together. I like to use a bit of graphite to help push them together. And if it's uneven, we can just remove a bit of material and then go back in on that marver. I'll use my jacks to make sure that that hole stays open. And once I'm happy with it, I can attach a tube. Now this will basically glue it all together, and if I don't get this too hot again, it'll stay in this shape. We're going to clip off the wire, and pull off that bit of paper. And now we're going to warm up the end of it and start getting that glass to go together. You'll have holes, you can see one here, and I'm just letting it rotate on the marver to slowly seal up. You really have to take your time with this. Alright, and we can go ahead and punty up to the end. I've got it nice and sealed. We can go back in on that original weld. And this whole time you want to keep that original weld very hot so that it doesn't crack. Heat management is critical through this process. Alright, we've got it all together. We're going to start adding air and blowing it out. The tip of this didn't end up the best, so I'm just going to remove it. Get a little bit of rod and twist it off there, but try and not take off too much. Just spending the time to get it to a nice tube shape. And we're going to blow out a hole on the end. Get our new handle ready. And make our connection. That's looking pretty good. Okay, we'll tear off the other side and clean up that end. Even it out and blow some air in there. We're basically done. Here's our finished piece of glass. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a comment below, subscribe to the channel, tell me what you might want to see next. Also, I started a Patreon, the link will be in the description, and you can check me out on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, thanks so much for your time. Have a great one.